All right, Shalom. This is Har one by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Harakah Kodash, Mahamath. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, Nakwatim, and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. Yeah, man, you got, now I want to get into something dealing with, this debt repayment deadline that's happening tomorrow or today, which would be Thursday. They have something called Evergrande, which is a real estate company over there in China. All right. Now, if you go to where is it at? All right, you have something here called the Global 2000. All right, Forbes Global 2000. It says how the world's biggest public companies endured the pandemic. Now it says so this is a list of the leading companies and leading governments upon the earth. Let's look and see who's the top one. Right here it says what? The top one is from China. And it says the ICBC, basically the Bank of China. That's the top company on the earth right now. And then you have JP Morgan Chase. All right, and this is talking about on the world scale. And then you have something called the World Debt sheet. And that's what they're moving towards. They're trying to move everything to a world issue, or local problems that's handled worldly, all right, with world companies. That's why you had Kamala, whatever her name is, Kamala Harris. She came out recently with an interview speaking and saying, all right, she kept saying they're entering a new era, all right, to where the world, she said when they look back on this great reset, they'll see that the world came together in a crisis. All right, so that's what this is about. It's all about that new world order. It's clear. It's clear what they're doing. So now I think it's number 122, I think it was. We'll go down real quick. Oh, they don't have it on here. I think it's a Global 3000. The Global 300 has the list with the real estate company called Evergrande. All right, and I think they're like number 122 on the list. All right, so this is the topic. It says Evergrande stock surges. All right, it says Evergrande stock surges even as debt repayment deadline approaches. All right, so the debt repayment deadline, I think it's tomorrow. I think it's Thursday. Just like America has a debt ceiling that they're trying to say they're not going to be able to move it up one more time. All right, America's debt ceiling. They're going to be talking about that soon. And what's going to happen is either if the Evergrande company crashes, or America defaults on its debt, or this major company that has $300 billion worth of debt. Since the company Evergrande was established, they started off with debt, just borrowing money all the way up to $300 billion. So to default on that, on the world scale or data sheet of debt, that would be a heavy weight to carry. That would tip the scale in what they call an event. See that? Remember Event 201? Where they had this whole situation happen where they're forcing mandates and lockdowns, and then it ends in a an event that's going to happen, and I believe it's going to be the crash, the economy. But they're going to tell people they can't pay their pensions back, all right, and they're going to start moving towards the mark of the beast, all right. So now let's read this topic a little bit, all right, because China is Moab. It says Hong Kong CNN business. It's crunch time for China. China's heavily indebted Evergrande group. All right. See, America has laden itself with thick clay, according to Habakkuk chapter 2, and then they're not gonna be able to pay back their debt. I think I forgot what America's debt level is today, but I haven't looked at the debt clock in a long time. Evergrande is due to pay $83.5 million worth of interest on a dollar-denominated bond, man. All right, so they got to pay it in dollars. Now, they might not pay it. They might just say, you know what? Nah, we're not going to pay it. We don't want to pay that. All right, so if they don't pay it, it's going to crash that company, which could ultimately crash other companies around the world. All right, especially here in America. That's how serious this is. So they're going to use this to blame it on China. All right. Now it says, see, and what China can do is they can play a dirty game because they have their currency, the yuan, backed by gold and oil. See, two different commodities. Now, they could easily say, you know what, let it crash. So that way that it would be a true global reset to where all the countries got to reset their currencies to the true value that it is. All right, right now, the dollar is operating off a de facto, meaning everybody's forced to invest in it because it's the world currency. All right, and there's still money to be made from these companies. Even though they're in default, there's still money to be made on Wall Street. You know, the company's still thriving, but the GDP on the back end, the debt is surpassing their GDP, what they're bringing in. All right, so what is this? All right, so China can play a dirty game to where they say, hey man, yeah, let's go ahead and reset everybody's currencies to the true value that it is. That will cut America out. America has nothing backing that dollar. The petrodollar is done. It's done. So what are they gonna back the dollar by? You know, so what they're gonna have to do is what? America's gonna be forced. I mean, if anything happens with the economies around the world, America gonna be the main one that loses out, Babylon, because America can't pay that debt back, man. All right, China can pay it back. They got options like, should we pay it or should we not? See that? And we're gonna know by today, which is Thursday, if Evergrande is gonna default on that debt. And the word default means they can't pay the debt back. They're not gonna pay it back, or they can't. All right, so what'll happen is all the nations will adjust their currencies to its true status. The dollar is operating because everybody's buying it around the world as a reserve currency, or they still have it on reserve, or they have to keep buying dollars to manage their dollar reserves that they have in their banks, and also within the IMF. All right, what's going to happen is America is going to be forced into by Europe, right? The IMF, International Monetary Fund, they're going to be forced to regulate its currency to its true status, and it's going to be beyond zero or negative. And what's going to happen is they're going to have to move to a new currency, a digital form of the dollar. That's going to shock everybody. Anybody that's dealing in dollars, fiat paper money, debit cards, whatever, it's going to be done. All right, they're going to move to something called a digital dollar. And they're going to get it within I said it years ago, they're going to get it within the SDR basket, special drawing rights, to where America can establish its own form of the dollar since it's the world currency. See that? So they're not going to get rid of the dollar. They're just going to get rid of the paper form of it. All right? So that's what all this is about. It's a domino effect, a chain reaction that's going to happen from this China situation today. And what's going to happen is all the markets are being looked at with a magnifying glass. If Evergrande doesn't crash, next thing you know, you're going to hear about America and their debt ceiling that's quickly approaching, to where the Fed's got to make a choice to increase the debt ceiling, move it up, saying, hey, all right, you can owe me more, right? Or they're going to say, yo, that's it. You can't pay it out no more. Well, we're not responsible for this to pay this debt anymore. To give you QE1, QE2, QE3, or whatever, quantitative easing, printing money out of thin air. And what they're going to say is, America got to make that choice. They're going to say, hey, America, you got to make the choice, man. Special drawing rights or what? So that's what this is about. It's going to give everybody a little insight or clarity on what's going on with this Evergrande stock possible crash today. It could crash. All right. And they're not really putting it out there. They kind of straddling the fence on putting the information out there. I'm going to read a little bit more information on this. It says, the settlement is a lot better after the news from yesterday, said Julian Evans Pritchard, senior China economist of Capital Economics. But the outlook for the offshore bank bond payment still remains uncertain, and Evergrande is a long way from resolving its problems. We will see Evergrande make more defaults. See that? It's not going to be able to pay back a lot of the debt that it has. But today they're going to make it seem like it. We're paying attention to it. We on it. We got it. We're going to fix it. And it says, but ultimately it's not going to be able to pay it. They're not going to pay it back. Even if it avoids defaulting today, the situation is not getting better unless the government steps in. All right. So the basic government takeover of these companies that can't pay their debt back. Everything's going to be government regulated. Real soon in America, you're going to have government food, government regulated jobs, entertainment regulated by the government. Whatever you call it, it's going to be government regulated. Government this, government rations at the shelf, food, It says Chinese estates, the second largest shareholder of Evergrande and a long-time business ally of the company, said Thursday in a stock exchange filing that it has already sold Evergrande shares worth 246.5 million Hong Kong dollars in the past few weeks. All right. So they all selling off. All these companies are moving away from, they're having a sell-off. All right, what does that mean? I mean, all these investors are afraid of it and they're running from it. That's a collapse. That's a crash of that company, and they're going to do the same thing with the dollar. All right. All right, Evergrande is stumbling under $300 billion worth of debt, that's what I said earlier, which is widely held by Chinese financial institutions. Retail investors home buyers and its suppliers in construction materials and design industries. Foreign investors also hold some of its debt. Over the last few weeks, the company warned investors twice that it could default if it's unable to raise money quickly. All right. It is not clear whether the company will actually default or whether Beijing will intervene and orchestrate some type of reconstructing to contain the fallout of the financial system and the broader Chinese economy. And we know that China had a lot of crashes, and especially in the 1950s, due to their faulty economic strategies. All right. But now America's moving in that way. All right, because they're not really talking about it on the news. All they're talking about is the damn pandemic. All right. Pumping their agenda into people's minds, brainwashing people, and they're putting their spell on everybody. But what's creeping up is this default that could happen. All right, or this crash. Check this out. What the federal debt ceiling showdown could mean for you. And this is September 2021. It says, the clock is ticking on the federal debt ceiling. Woo! The clock is ticking on the federal debt ceiling, man. Okay, I like that one. The clock is ticking, the debt clock. Lawmakers have until the end of this month to raise the debt limit once again. See, they're not really talking about it. They're talking about China when the problem is going to be right here at home in America. China can pay its debt. There's no problem. They're going to just give it a bailout. But anything happens in the world, it's going to affect America. The debt balance sheet, the world balance sheet of debt. All right. It's going to cause everybody to default on their payments, regulate their currencies, reevaluate their currencies, and they're going to see that America has no currency. All them dollars going to come home to roost. All right. It says lawmakers have until the end of this month, to the end of September. Sheesh. That's like a few days to raise the debt limit once again. And we're going to hear about this, man, on the news. In a Wall Street Journal Sunday, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said failing to act could spark an economic catastrophe. Failing to act could cause an economic catastrophe. And Esau likes bringing order out of chaos. All right. So they could use this one. This could be it, to where they just don't raise the debt ceiling and the dollar crashes. Everything crashes. This could be it, man. Yahweh Ratazah it is. This is while the legal cap on how much the U.S. can borrow doesn't impact what consumers can spend. All right. If Congress can't reach a deal on a new debt limit before October, it will put a stranglehold on everything from government payments to the ability to borrow, she cautioned. Whew, man. Everything crashed. Government funding, companies going to start crashing, man. Okay? There'll be an economic crash as well. In a matter of days. What? Let me read this, man. Let me read this. It says, in a matter of days from October, right? October 1st. In a matter of days, if they don't raise the debt ceiling, which I don't believe they're going to do, but we'll see what happens. In a matter of days, millions of Americans could be strapped for cash. Basically saying be in poverty, lose the jobs, everything. Nearly 50 million seniors could stop receiving Social Security checks for a time. Troops could go unpaid. Millions of families who rely on the monthly child tax credit could see delays. All right. So basically, man, they'll stop everything. You know, why federal borrowing limit keeps coming up. The federal debt is the amount of money the government currently owes for spending on payments such as Social Security, Medicare, military salaries, and tax refunds. The debt, that means no tax refunds for everybody. All right. And they won't be able to pay them pensions. And that's why I believe they're giving everybody, what they're giving them. So they can kill a lot of people off and they won't have to pay them pensions. It says the debt limit allows the government to finance those existing obligations. Raising the debt ceiling doesn't authorize additional spending of taxpayer dollars. Instead, when we raise the debt ceiling, we're effectively agreeing to raise the country's credit card balance. All right, so now, that same thing that happened in 2008, okay, where they went to a recession. That's what this can cause, a recession. All right, so, all right, I'm going to read this real quick. However, the budget resolution left out the ceiling entirely. I hate the way these people talk, man. Anyway, and the government will be near the brink of the default, just as Republicans and Democrats face off over how much is too much federal spending. All right, so they're gonna have a little face off real soon, and that's gonna be a distraction. It's a financial game of chicken. All right, and that's the important part. It's a financial game of chicken, right? And they're going to say what? The chicken's going to come home to roost. That's talking about the dollars. All right? And if they come home to roost, they're going to buy up everything. The dollar's got to go somewhere. So all these houses and anything that can be leased, all right, or have a title to it, those dollars that's going to come home to roost from these countries, the major holders in dollars, they're going to own everything in America, all right? It says, so let me get to the point. Wow, man. Good. Yep. It says that in turn would send other borrowing costs higher, including credit cards, car loans, and mortgage rates, all right? Which generally are pegged to yields on U.S. Treasury notes. At the very least, fear of default could rattle the stock market and send shock waves throughout the economy, according to Bankrate's Hamrick. If you go back to a decade ago, there was an immediate sell-off, which is happening now, is going to happen. Sell-off means there's fears on the market. Just like in China, they're selling off, right? If you go back to a decade ago, there was an immediate sell-off in the financial markets. It hit investors hard and runs the risk of a cascading financial crisis. We have learned from the past debt limit impasses that waiting until the last minute to suspend or increase the debt limit could cause serious harm. All right, I'm going to end it with this, man, because you have Habakkuk chapter 2, where it speaks about the thick clay of America. of Babylon. And that thick clay is what? Thick uh, uh, debt, all right? DEBT. So it's basically about the default at some point, all right? So how long her that laden herself with thick clay, man? Show this endure. And they keep trying to kick that can up the road, but after a while, they're going to be going up a hill. It's going to get tougher and tougher. Ezekiel 12:22. It says, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying the days are prolonged and every vision faileth? All right, so a lot of people think that because we're in a time of prophecy, and they think everything is not going to happen, but the Lord said in Habakkuk 2, at the end it shall speak and not lie. All right, and the prophecies are happening, man. So it's prophesied that America is going to, Babylon is going to crash. And, all of the above is going to default, crash, crumble. Tell them, therefore, thus saith Yahweh, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. All right, so everything that the Lord prophesied through his prophets is coming to pass. And that's the point. It don't matter what Esau does or Moab, Tell them, therefore, 24, for there shall be no more any vision, any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel, right? All these lies and shit that they telling in the churches. People like Tazariak and them and IUIC, all their false doctrine. The Lord saying all that's going to stop. And once the prophecy starts speaking, people have to show and prove. Then the proof is going to be right there in the pudding. They're saying it's not the chip, the mark of the beast. Well, we're going to see. But when it get pushed on a world scale because of the world debt ratio or data sheet, all right, when the world defaults on this debt, it's going to be a world issue when they're going to have one world currency. All right, and they're going to use the dollar to start it and switch it to a digital form of it. But they're going to keep it as the world currency. All right, they're going to switch it to a digital form to where they can apply the chip to it. So let me read this. I got like 4%. It says, so the Lord's going to cause all their lies to cease. People like IUPK or IUIC saying it's not the mark of the beast. Well, it's going to be front and center real soon. Or they say that crash is not going to happen. We got to build up a community here in America. Or you got these idiots over there, one body saying that Yahushua is not going to come deliver us. Well, shoot, if he don't come deliver us, we don't have no way out of this shit that's coming. For I am Yahweh, I will speak, and the word that shall speak shall come to pass. All right, so everything he's speaking is coming to pass. Everything he spoke from the beginning. That's 2 Ezra chapter 9. It goes along with Habakkuk chapter 2. All right, everything he spoke, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, talking about 2/3 of our people, will I say the word and will perform it, saith Yahweh power. Again, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision he seeth is for many days to come. Right? It ain't gonna happen. And he prophesieth of the times that are far off. Therefore, say unto them, all right, we're prophesying about the debt and the crash, economy collapse, World War III, the mark of the beast, right? Martial law, plagues, everything's happening, man. But the main prophecy that got to happen, as Apostle Tahar always say, as we always say in this camp, is the mark of the beast got to be pushed on a world scale, and then the end shall come, all right? It says, so they saying it's far off. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Therefore say unto them, thus saith Yahweh, power, there shall none of my words be prolonged anymore. All right, that's why Esau is moving in that way, because they know they got but a short time, coming down with great wrath. All right, because they know Yahweh Shai is about to shut their, they're going to lose their blessing. It's time for Jacob's blessing. All right, so Esau is what? Trying to get their birthright back. Therefore say unto them, thus saith Yahweh power, there shall none of my words be prolonged anymore. She's about to intervene. But the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith Yahweh power, man. So, hey, Yahweh Ratazah, every word that he spoke will come to pass now. You know, the last few prophecies. All right. So he said now. So, hey, when we in that time, so every word that he spoke is going to just come to pass. He's going to bring it to pass. He's going to intervene and send his holy angels to bring these prophecies to pass, man. They trying to kick the can up the road. Nah, we're going to raise the debt ceiling. At some point, they just not going to do it. And this could be that month. All right. We got China and America wrestling for that top spot right now. And China going to win. But ultimately, the children of Israel going to win. And Esau going to lose. All right. So, hey, man, look out for that Evergrande. You're going to hear about it today, probably in the news. Evergrande, they're going to probably skim over it and keep pushing their propaganda in your face with the lockdowns and all that, mandates. And then behind that, you're going to hear about the U.S. debt ceiling that needs to be raised, all right? And watch how China handles their issue compared to how America handles their issue, all right? But the Lord said, what? It's not going to be prolonged anymore.